So last stream, I know I originally said that I was basically going to leave my stream lives like this, and we were going to pick up on this later, or at least I was. Whether you want to participate or not is entirely up to you. But I realized that that's a lot to process. So, all key points I wrote down on this piece of paper here, and we're just going to continue off from here. Right. So before I get into like the greater deep dive into lore, let me just go ahead and summarize the bullet points on this piece of paper here. Pokemon humanoid hybrids can be scientifically, possibly, bioengineered. There's been several attempts in the Pokemon universe or world, like canon-wise, Mewtwo being one of the more notable examples. The result would require a Cherish Ball, because it would definitely take an event or some special circumstances to generate something like absolutely almost indistinguishably humanoid, but with Pokemon traits. The concept I came up with was for a Haunter or Gengar female hybrid, because, reasons. Oh, right, there was a question. What would happen if you took this hybrid and used a Dark Ball? Which I probably could actually look that up and explore this on the video, because I'm not 100% certain or remember what exactly does a Dark Ball do to a Pokemon. Yeah, I'm probably going to be researching that. Powers up by gassy candies or rare candies, but because she would be half Haunter, that means she also drains life force to eat and slipping into dreams and feeding on fear. Sounds like a wonderful woman. Definitely wife material. But seriously, let me just go ahead and cover that first part. Or the Dark Ball. I'm curious, because I don't actually remember what does, like, specifically. I know when they come out the other end, they're, like, evil. Like monsters. But I don't remember specifically what a Dark Ball does. Hold on, typing. You think somebody can guess your password from, like, sound alone? Is that possible? Because I know it's just like a phone. My keys definitely make different noises. Anyways, hold on. What does a Dark Ball do to a Pokemon? A Dark Ball turns a Pokemon evil, immediately boosts its power to the highest level, and strips away its free will, so it obeys all the user's commands. Wow. It wasn't suspect, it is now. It can even capture Pokemon that already belong to another trainer. Through highly strong-willed Pokemon can fight its control. The Dark Ball is an exclusive item featured only in the fourth Pokemon movie, Pokemon Forever, where it was used by the villainous Iron Mask Marauder. It never appeared in any of the core video games, though it bears strong similarities to the concept of the Shadow Pokemon. So this is something that had to be made, that was specifically made. I mean, it's still canon lore. It was in the movie. They just never put it into the game. Which, I can honestly see why. Because then you just basically go around and steal anyone's Pokemons. Hold on. A Dark Ball. I'm reading the Bulb Garden or Bulbapedia. A Dark Ball is a Pokeball variation featured in the Celebi, The Voice of the Forest. Similar to the Mewtwo balls from Mewtwo Strike Back, Dark Balls are able to catch Pokemon that already belong to another trainer, as opposed to catching wild Pokemon only. The only person who has ever been seen using a Dark Ball is the Iron Mask Marauder. He claimed any Pokemon captured with a Dark Ball will become evil and their power will be increased to this higher level. The Pokemon loses its freedom and will obey all commands from its master. The Iron Mask Marauders used a Dark Ball to capture a Tyranitar, which I actually remember that scene. That was horrifying. Owned by a Pokemon poacher and bring it under his control, even though it already belonged to someone. Later, he caught a Celebi and a Dark Ball as well. The control of the Dark Ball can be fought and even broken if the Pokemon has enough willpower. Should this happen, the Dark Ball that captured it will be destroyed. This happened to Celebi after it had been captured by the Iron Mask Marauder. Although it nearly lost its life in the process, conversely, if a Dark Ball is destroyed, the Pokemon it was used to capture it will be freed from its influence and return to its normal state, as happened with the Marauder's other 3 Pokemon. Pokemon captured with the Dark Ball have similar characteristics to Shadow Pokemon, which in Japanese are called Dark Pokemon. Both Shadow Pokemon and Pokemon captured with Dark Ball supposedly have their powers increased, and both are described as being soulless. Well, that's certainly a lot of material to work with. Yep. That's definitely going in the fanfics. I mean, the Dusk Ball introduced in Pokken Diamond and Pearl is called the Dark Ball in Japanese, but the name was changed in localization. What does a Dusk Ball look like? That's a lot friendlier than a Dark Ball. The Dusk Ball is more likely to succeed if used at night or in a cave. Okay, so the Dark Ball is pretty much a mind control device. But it also said if his will is strong enough, it could resist. But if it doesn't, it's basically your slave forever. Or she is. Pokemon universe is weird when you really dive into it. Jesus Louise. What else? What else should I explore in this? Hold on. Should probably... Hold on. Hunter. Oh wait, no, I already looked at your page. I want to play Pokemon Sword and Shield. Specifically for... Hold on. I think it's called Gothitelle. But I need to figure out how exactly I'm going to do that. I mean, I could get a Switch. I technically already have a Nintendo account. But what I really, and I think I've spoken about this before. I have been watching like Japanese streamers, and some of them have figured out to get these older consoles to stream onto like their stream. I need to know how. I want to know how. Because if I can make something like a Game Boy Advance, like stream to video, I'm gonna do a PSP next. I mean, of course, like there's always the other option, and you know, as much as I know, Nintendo probably doesn't like me suggesting this. I'm probably gonna need an emulator or some other means. It really comes down to what I can afford. I mean, I still plan to buy the game. I still want the game regardless, but you know, options. Options. But really, what it boils down to is I want to figure out how to actually record it and put it on screen. I want you to look that up now. One moment. Can you... No, Google. I don't want you using my microphone. You stream a Game Boy Advanced. You cannot connect the console directly. You must route the video output through a capture device The most popular method is using a GameCube with a Game Boy Player attachment, connected to an upscaler like RetroSync 2 and standard HDMI capture card. Plug into your PC. Ah. Ah. What's a Game Boy player? So there's a box I can buy that's $100. Jeez Louise. Where I can basically just stream the whole thing from PC. Or I have to route the video output to my computer. Interesting. Now I know. Okay. Alright, that's pretty much what I have so far. See you next time.